Hello, my name is Rachel and I'm here to tell you about a few exciting releases coming out today, August 9th, 2016. First up is All the Ugly and Wonderful Things by Bryn Greenwood. This is an adult contemporary novel that follows the story of Wavy, who is a young girl who's had kind of a troubled life with her parents, and her parents end up bringing in this older man who she develops a pretty intimate relationship with. So this is definitely going to be a book that's a little bit more out of my comfort zone, but I think it's just going to be wonderful. I've heard great reviews. It sounds like it's just going to be a really heartwarming, gut-wrenching tale, and I think I'm hopefully going to really like it. And I love the title. If nothing else, I'm going to be reading this for the title. I just absolutely love it. So I'm excited. It's got good reviews. I think it's going to be great. Next is Present Over Perfect, Leaving Behind Frantic for a Simpler, More Soulful Way of Living by Shauna Niequist. And this is a nonfiction book that really focuses on taking all that stress and focusing it more in a mindfulness approach. So basically to stop and smell the roses and live in the now instead of stressing about tomorrow. And I love the mindfulness approach. I'm excited to get a little bit deeper into reading about it. I think it's really important for us because I think so many people get tied up in their day-to-day living and their jobs that we don't really focus on what's happening to us in the moment. And I think we'd be much happier if we could just kind of take a break and focus on what's happening and not stress out about tomorrow. And it's hard. I have way problems with that. I stress out about things that may or may never happen, and I just try to keep in mind that it may not happen, and if that's not today, deal with today first. So I love the idea of this book. I'm excited to give it a read, and I think it's going to be really good. Next up is The Hating Game by Sally Thorne, and this is like my favorite trope ever. Like, I will never get tired of it, even though you know what happens. Like, you know what happens. It's so predictable, but I don't care. I love it. It's basically following two competitive coworkers who hate each other, and they as they work together, they slowly start seeing, more positives about each other, and I bet you can guess what happens at the end, and I'm so excited for it. This is an adult contemporary, and again, it follows that kind of Pride and Prejudice style trope that I love, and it'll never get old. I could read it all the time. The hate to love is just, that's my thing. Next up is Kill File. This is an adult sci-fi thriller by Christopher Farnsworth, and this follows a man who I think might have already had telepathy and then went to the CIA, or either the CIA taught him to be a telepath. I don't know, but he's a CIA-trained telepath. Let's go with that. And he's kind of gone away from the CIA. I think he's working on his own, kind of as a private telepath, a private detective, I don't know. But anyway, his latest client, of course, is the one that leads him into some sort of trouble, and now he's on the run for his life with a partner, using his gift of telepathy to save his life. And I think this just sounds like a neat thriller read, a little bit of a different take, and I love the title. Kill File is what really caught my attention, and I think it'll be a fun, quick read for fall, when it's back to school time and I need a little quick read. Next up is All We Have Left by Wendy Mills. This is a YA contemporary / historical fiction novel about two separate girls' lives that are changed by the events of 9/11, and about hate versus love. And I think this type of book, these 9/11 books, are just really important, and I'm glad they're coming out now because this looks at it in a totally different light, especially for children who weren't born or don't remember 9/11. We don't want to forget, and we want to learn from our mistakes, and we want to not let history repeat itself. So we need to keep it relevant to kids who weren't there to experience it. And I think these books that are coming out, because it seems like there's a lot of like 9/11 related books this year that are coming out, I think it's really important because they haven't had the experience that most of us have had of living through 9/11 and living in a post 9/11 world. And a lot of them don't know anything other than the post 9/11 world, so they don't realize how impactful 9/11 was. So I love these books geared towards younger children who either don't remember or weren't alive for 9/11. I think they're really important, and I'm excited to add some of them to my school libraries. Next is another one that I love for the title, and I really like this cover too. It's called How to Party with an Infant, and this author is Kauai Hart Hemmings. And this follows the story of a girl who announces to her boyfriend that she's pregnant, and he in turn announces to her that he's actually engaged to another woman. And yeah, kind of an awkward situation. And then they invite her to the wedding. So she's got, you know, an infant, I think maybe a toddler by the time they get married, and she's attending the wedding of her baby's daddy, aka baby daddy, and yeah, awkward. And I think this really just follows kind of her story of adapting to the situation and finding a support group and learning to deal with her current circumstances in life. And it sounds like it's probably going to be a funny, lighthearted take on a situation that's probably not funny or lighthearted. So I'm interested in this. I think it's going to be fun. And last up for today is The City Baker's Guide to Country Living by Louise Miller. This is an adult contemporary literary fiction, and two quotes pretty much sum up to me what this is about, because they're very, very similar. The first one that was blurb for this book said, "Discover the true meaning of home," and the second one said, "Finally discover what it means to belong." So obviously this is one of those situations where it's somebody who's moved and they finally feel like they belong somewhere, because, you know, that's basically what both of those said. But this follows the story of a woman who I believe burned down a kitchen that she used to work in, because she's a chef or a cook. And I think she burned down the kitchen where she used to work. So she flees and she goes to this really small town and finds this job with this older woman who runs an inn, and she starts living there as well in the inn. And I think there might be the possibility of a new man in the town, and she's getting her life together, and then all of a sudden it literally says there is a surprise that arrives into town. It surprises everybody, and the question is, will she run or will she stay after this? So I think that's going to be interesting. It sounds like a really fun fall book. I'm not sure. Between the baking